Savages. Welcome to the first annual ASK mashup get together, Frank and Knife extravaganza, coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona, from the Shactory. All there are is machines running, lights out there in the building, finishing up the last operations of today. Jeff and Austin and I are in here, and we're going to do a little thing. Now, we got strippers at the halftime. We got whores at the end. So it's going to be an interesting evening. I wanted to send a special word out from our sponsors to the gay and lesbian LGBTQI plus community out there and let you know that that guy in charge of nuclear waste, he's not representing you anymore. Neither is Jean-Pierre up there at the microphone. I empathize with your plight. You know, I went to Jeff, you remember when we were in high school, like AIDS kind of just took, kind of ran rampant through the world. And
it was an actual pandemic.
Yeah, it was an actual pandemic. And it actually, it wiped out some vulnerable communities. It wiped out the dancing community. It did major damage to the gay community. It wiped out the male antiques community on the East Coast. I remember my mom was in the antiques business, and a lot of gay men in the business. And I remember kind of what it did. I remember, do you remember the big quilt they did for AIDS down in the National Mall?
I went and saw it, actually.
Yeah, I went down there too.
Yeah.
So we had a big march on the National Mall, and then we did that big quilt. I remember some folks from my school made part of the quilt, and we went down there.
Last time it was displayed when we were there because it was so large. It took up whatever field it was on.
Yeah, it was the National Mall there, right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. Anyway, Papa Booey. Anyways, I was just, I was watching the Queen Adam Lambert special last night, talking about how Queen is basically selling out stadiums around the world the last few years, certainly right up before COVID, and how this young kid came along and had this voice that kind of stepped into the breach that Freddie Mercury's departure, and I think he died in 91. He died from AIDS, we found out the day before. No big mystery there, and I remember I'm a plain-spoken guy, and I get bashed online all the time. But I remember everybody wasn't so sensitive back then because there were, people really dying from things. Remember when we were in high school, that gay kid got drugged behind the bumper of a truck out in Texas. It was big national news. I remember that. We went down and protested about that too. I mean, I was aware of this stuff. I've never wanted anybody being oppressed for that kind of stuff. I thought I would throw that out there because in my language, I know I'm a little incendiary sometimes. It's just my nature to be a little bit of a poker and a fly in the ointment, a little bit provocative. But it really comes from a place of observing the silliness of the universe, the silliness of our priorities. And while we all fiddly fart around, Babylon's burning and, we teeter on the edge of nuclear war at times. So I have a gallows sense of humor. It's how I deal with things. For those of you who are joining us over at Medford Knife today, you can go over to askknife.com/2022HS, like holiday show, or you can just go to the main homepage and click on the little Frankenstein graphic, and boom, you'll be right in the show. If you look down below today, those of you who have come over from Medford Knife or who are with us on ASK Knife, if you look down below, you'll see a list of and picture of and description of the knives we're going to run through today. We're going to hit them in a few moments. I'm also going to be showing a Ninja Spike that we just finished yesterday, which I think is a really fun little tool. When I was a kid, I watched Kung Fu Theater on Sunday morning, and I always wanted all that stuff. I wanted the butterfly sword. I wanted the katanas. I wanted the bokken. I wanted the naginata and the yari and all of the crazy shit they were fighting with. And it got me into the martial arts for an entire lifetime. It felt like 2 lifetimes. And now I'm in this really unique position where if I see something or think about something cool or unique I want to do, I just go talk to the crew, make a plan, and make it so. It's super fun. So I just felt like making some of these ninja spikes. I felt like throwing them at somebody and sticking it in their neck and watching the blood kind of arterially squirt out everywhere. I was in like a Pulp Fiction arterial squirting blood Quentin Tarantino mood. So I was like, hey, we'll make a few of those and I'll stick one in the truck, maybe in the console, and Next time somebody gives me any grief, comes up and puts their hand on my sill or of my window, if I haven't already got out and plugged them, maybe I'll sewing machine their hand a little bit for fun, send them to the emergency room and let those folks test out their new staple and sewing guns and all that stuff they need. Listen, without much further ado, I'm going to show you a couple of knives today towards the end of the show. We've got some Damascus Medford knives that are going to poke their nose, that are slip joints to the last of the Gen 1 Gentleman Jacks. I hope you guys dig those. Very, very, very classy gentleman style knives. And then Gen 2 is coming out. What is about? Are we making Gen 2 right now?
Yeah, we're finalizing the clip.
Yeah, so the Gen 2's got a clip and it's got some other little sexiness, and it also has some of the more subtle sentiments of the slip joint community, because they're gay for certain little things, and we want to be aware of that, and when in Rome, I guess, right? Wear a toga. All right, without any further ado, and then we're going to show you some triple stacks towards the end, and we're going to show you the our Corsair series. We've got Buccaneers. No, it's not Buccaneers. We've got Jolly Rogers, and I forget what the other one was. Maybe it was the Buccaneers. Do you remember? Oh, damn it. Man, I hate when I do that. My middle-aged mind's twisting stuff around. All right, here we go. Let's start out with our white hex camo. We're going to talk about stonewashed and high polished today a little bit. We've got both. So our first knife up is going to be this white hex camo handles. They're really cool, plain titanium, everything tumbled, and glossy smooth finish. This is our first. It's got our Warncliffe style blade on it. I'll set that there for you to look at. It's got a rangefinder bottle opener, and it's got a Zeus fastener with some a quarter turn Zeus fastener blade and a couple of hexes. For those of you who don't know, Zeus fasteners are DZU. I can't remember if it's S or Z, but it's DZUS, I believe. And it's a company that makes these fasteners that you swage into plates, and they're on boat access panels and aircraft access panels all over the world. They've been around for a long time. Sometimes you can get into them with a quarter. But we made a tool for it. It's kind of nice. On aircraft, I remember when I was doing pre-flight inspections, they're always wing and fuel panels and engine access panels. They're all Zeus quarter turns. Okay, our next knife today is the Dexter. It's called the Dexter. Obviously, it's got some blood splatter. This is going to be a stone wash as opposed to a polish. This is one of the most unique knives you're going to see today. It is it's got a beautiful kind of blood splatter, red spatter, kind of random image on the handles, and then two stonewash blades. So it's got a really cool spear point, and then it's got a Warncliffe style blade, both in a stonewash. It's got flamed liners and flame oxidized hardware. Really cool little knife. One of the most unique ones of the day. It's a double knife. I would have called that one double trouble. Anyways, that's the blade. The top of the blade's getting cut off a little, isn't it, Austin? Let me move it.
Zoom it out.
Nope. That work? Okay, there you go. So that gives you a view of both blades on our Dexter. That's number 2. Now, if you obviously, if you look down below the video there, if you're watching the feed at asknife.com, if you're not, go to asknife.com. You don't need a member. You don't need to have an account. You don't need to do anything. Just click on the knife. If it pops up, it'll show you quantity. If there's a number there, it means you can buy it. Moving on. Neon Silk. Super sexy knife. Warncliffe blade. It's got an all bottle opener and full polish with a sexy look. Hardware is flamed. Spacers are flamed. And this is an upper class gentleman's really cool knife to be carrying around. Pretty neat. In the background here, you'll see one of my ninja spikes. I'll describe that to you guys in a little bit. I'll show it to you in a little detail. Pretty neat knife. That's number 3, Neon Silk. Number 4, Damascus. Damascus, it's got a CX blade, a chisel, a bottle opener. It's got the Gen 2 big nail nicks on the tools. It's got the small Gen 1 nail nick on the blade. Although it's a bit small, it still works great, and you'll see those slowly shift over time. Just like the 356, the early 901 that turned into the 911 Porsche. When those were in development and kind of coming to life, there were some kind of unique hand-picked putting together of those. It wasn't like the anal retentive, fully automated CNC computer-driven world of today. Let's put this up. Just a really classy look. Great colored spacers and hardware. And it's got, just about everything you need on a knife without getting like too micromanaging of the coolness of life. I think what I should do is I think I should put the knife on the stand and talk about it. What do you think, Austin? Would that work better? Okay. So we've just covered that knife. That is Damascus number 4. It is off the table. Next up is our P51 Mustang. I want to just put this on there and let it speak for itself. So this is one of our pictorial handles where we have a full picture of an image on the side. It's got a all needle, which would be also a very small screwdriver. And then it's got a screwdriver bottle opener rangefinder combo, through-looking rangefinder, which I developed initially for the Marine Corps Scout Sniper knife we did. And then the blade is 6, kind of Scandinavian design with a sexy hollow grind. I believe these are S35 or S45. They're pretty cool. Stonewash finish on those. And plain, let me just confirm. Oh, no. It's got flamed liners and flame turned titanium hardware. Super cool little knife, the P51. Moving over to, this is not the Black Mamba. It is the Black Mamba. Okay, my crew can get me in trouble. They just are having fun doing stuff, and I kind of roll with it. I don't know what else we'd call it, but we're going to call it the Black Mamba. Really cool little pocket knife. You can see everything about it as I put it on there. It is in stonewashed, in case you're having a hard time seeing that. It's got black handles. It's got anodized liners, titanium liners and hardware, stonewashed tools and blade. Super sexy. That's our Black Mamba, number 6. Number 7 is Neon Leaves. This looks like it's something right out of Avatar, appropriately enough. I think Avatar's kicking this weekend on number 2. I'm looking forward to going and seeing that. I think that was out this weekend. Did you see it? Did you go to theater? All right. Jeff saw it from a shaky camera in a Chinese theater. And pretty cool knife, Neon Leaves. Stonewashed, anode, hardware, and liners. It doesn't seem like much, but in a process like this, to stop and take these little parts and customize them up to the handles, it's pretty time-consuming and kind of breaks the protocol of production. Again, if you're just joining the show over on Medford Knife, feel free to jump over to askknife.com. You can click down on the first image. There'll be a Frankenstein in our little graphic we did for the show for our 2022 ASK holiday mashup. We're doing a bunch of unique knives. When you get to the end here, you're going to see some crazy shit. Good fun. Next is Chocolate Chip. For those of you who, every camo is cool in all military history except Chocolate Chip. That was unfortunately the uniform of choice for my war. And I'm going to drop this out for you. 6-blade stonewashed rangefinder, and then plain tie hardware. And it looks like just tumbled shiny liners. We're doing a lot of mixes and contrasts of color and texture. I think you guys will like this lovely little knife. And it's got a kind of cool retro appeal. If you know somebody who was in the military, who's about 50, 52, 54, 55, those guys in my age, that's a kind of print and look that is very kind of familiar to us. Next, Double D, Frosty Double D. I don't know why this is. Can you tell me explain this?
Yeah, it's missing the mouth, so we call it Frosty Ding Dong.
What that means?
I don't know. These clowns from the factory, they named it.
Okay, so this is Frosty with no mouth because you just don't want to hear the song, or it's like
no, it's like a wife giving She wants him to shut up, not talk.
Oh.
Or husband to wife.
Or like he doesn't want a blowjob. I mean, this is a strange matchup. There's no mouth on Frosty.
We didn't think of that.
Okay, we'll leave it to me to come up with the rated NC-17 version of it. Here we go, sports fans. I was talking earlier, I was watching the show about Queen and Adam Lambert. We all knew Freddie Mercury was gay. Didn't really matter. He was so spectacular as a vocalist and a band leader. What a great rock and roll band. And I thought it was really cool. The guys are from that generation. They're typically pretty homophobic. And the guys clearly weren't homophobic with Freddie Mercury running around in his banana hammock suits on stage nearly naked. But this young guy, Adam Lambert, who had a bunch of controversy about being gay, it was real interesting. I didn't really know anything about the guy. I don't really have TV. I don't watch any of these, talent show things like American Idol or X Factor or America's Got Talent or any of these things. Anyways, I guess this kid, Adam Lambert, won. And they told his life story. It was pretty cool. And just talking about, it's hard enough being an adolescent, male or female. It's hard enough figuring it all out and not just spectacularly screwing everything up, let alone having alternative preferences internally driving you. I mean, I was just as average, normal, red-blooded American male as you could possibly be. And, the stress of adolescence was awful. I can't even imagine if I was like into dudes or fucking high heel shoes more than I am now. I mean, I never tell anybody. I wear high heels around the house all the time, but like back in the day, it wasn't cool. Now it's super cool. To get a size 18 in Christian Louboutin, it's fucking sweet. Yeah, it's a big deal. You got to call those guys up, send them you can send them a handwritten letter with like some Oscar Wilde lip prints and Chanel red on your signature, and they'll make you a pair of size 18 pumps. Okay, moving on here. So that was Frosty Double D, number 9. Moving on to 10, The Great Wave. Hosukai, the Japanese artist, I believe. Austin, do you want to Google that? Make sure I got that right. I thought it was Hosukai. Yeah, just Google The Wave. Who's the Japanese artist who did The Wave? I think it's Hosukai. Any case, we've got a Japanese print wave here. It is really cool. I'm going to put it down and flip it around, actually, because it's got a great view of the wave on it. What is it? How do you spell it? Yep, Hokusai. I'll show you the other side now. Really cool knife. Hokusai's wave. Back when Amy and I were married, I think at about the 8-year mark, maybe the 7-year mark, she did a cross stitch of Hokusai's wave. I think it's hanging up somewhere here in the factory. It might be in her office. And she did a cross stitch of this thing that was like 20 inches wide and 15 inches high. She worked on it for, Jesus, man. She worked on that thing for a couple of years. It was absolutely beautiful. She should have hung out on the couch with me making out. We'd probably still be married. Here we go. Let's a little pause, a little advice from Uncle Greg for all you married folks out there. No matter what he's done, you should saddle up on the couch without your panties and kiss him a little bit. Kiss him up a little bit. Maybe she put on a few pounds after the kids. Her feet are a little swollen. Maybe she's not as pretty as when she was younger. You aren't either. So you ought to just grab her by the neck, real gentle and sexy like, with a handful of hair, and give her a kiss. Curl her toes and kick one of her heels up behind her. Remind her why for the last 1,000,000 years, women have chosen man. Just a reminder. Have a good night. Buy yourself a knife, and then make love to your wife.
Buy a knife, make love to your wife.
Jesus, we ought to make that shirt. Buy a knife, make love to your wife. Cripes. All right, Warncliffe style, Rosie the Riveter, you guys. A really cool homage to the women of America that put down their babies and their knitting needles and their Susie homemaker life that had existed in America, and put on overalls, rolled up their sleeves, had their cute hairdo, maybe with some earrings on and some heels, and they shuffled in, and they riveted, and they welded, and they assembled and put together the machines that sent our boys off to war. Pretty amazing. And it was the beginning of the era of woman. Pretty cool. It was really strange. After the war, all the boys came back and they wanted their jobs back, and the girls had loved working. A lot of the women had loved working in the factories and making this money and building these beautiful airplanes and building submarines and building ships. It's a Rosie the Riveter knife. Very cool homage to ladies that were part of the war effort that basically saved the free world and liberated thousands of Jews from internment camps and ended Nazi oppression of Europe and those sneaky Japs from what they were doing over in the Pacific. Our next knife, this is Pimp Daddy. Oh, it's actually called Pimp. Our next knife is Pimp. Now, why would it be called Pimp? Let's say your name's Huggy Bear. Let's say you're in Brooklyn or maybe in LA and you're a pimp and you got a really cool hat. What would you put for a hatband on it? You want to let people know that you're styling. You're a man of class and texture. You want to keep your girls safe. They want to be able to pick you out of a crowd. They put this leopard band around the hat. Jesus Christ. And then if you got like let's say an 81 pop top caddy, I'm going to say purple with some steer horns on the hood. Interior, I'm going to say leopard print on the seats. This leopard print, it would go really nicely. You could go the color of the liner and the hardware on the card with this. It would just go great. And if somebody goes to like rip off one of your hose, you could pull this on them and thread them a little bit. Say, listen, I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you good. Moving on. That one's called Pimp. This one's called Blue Camel. Guys, you got to have a little fun, or what the hell is this whole circle we're in around the sun for? It's to save the planet. We're not here to save the planet. We're here to have a great life. If we happen to save the planet along the way without creating calamity, I'm all for it. Next one is Blue Camo. Guys, this is a great look. It's like that U.S. Air Force Special Ops camo. I really like it. This obviously is in stonewash, chisel, drop point, bottle opener, rangefinder. Sexy, sexy, sexy. Plain tumble titanium hardware. Great looking little knife. All right, next is Techno Fade. This is, like I was saying yesterday, this one reminds me of Tron. It's got a Zeus fastener on it, bottle opener, drop point blade, and high polish. Everything about this knife is cool. It's got gold liners, blue hardware, and a breaker at the end. A partridge and a fucking pear tree. Cool knife. I hope you dig it. We try to have some fun with these and do a little something for everybody. What's great about these, if you guys order these knives now, they're going to head out on Monday or Tuesday. You'll get them before Christmas. They're awesome gifts. For guys that have everything, let's say you know somebody who's like done well. They usually kind of get whatever they want. People that have done well usually aren't flipped with their money. They're usually a little more thoughtful. For the guy who's got everything, or for the gal who's a baller, a really nice, high-quality American-made knife speaks to your class and how much you respect them. And these are gifts that nobody will ever disappear. They will have around for years and years and years. If you guys pick one of these up and you want to get something laser engraved on it or something like that, we didn't mention that. We didn't talk about that as a bunch. But if you do want something laser engraved on it, I know my crew will charge you a couple of bucks. It won't be expensive. It can be done quite fast, and we could probably get it done for Christmas. So I'm throwing that in, and everyone's going to be pissed at me. But it's funny. It's my name on the front of the building, so I can fucking take a shot at it. Moving on. Okay, this is Leaf Silhouette. It speaks for itself. High polish, worn cliff, rangefinder, bottle opener, and all blue liners, blue NO hardware. Just a beautiful gentleman's knife. Nobody knows about these knives yet. I mean, just us knife people that are kind of like into the knife world, we kind of are starting to know about the ASK knife. But the Gen Pop, it hasn't made it out of a special assignment unit. It's still in solitary. It hasn't made it to Gen Pop. When this gets to Gen Pop, it's going to take off because there are a lot of people out there that really want this amazing American craftsmanship, amazing American material quality, and they want to support the way of life here in North America that's been a beacon of hope for over 200 years now to the rest of the world. Merry fucking Christmas. You're welcome. Next is Darth Vader. Talk about a cool brand that's been exported around the world. This has got Darth Vader on the handle on both sides. Very cool. Tactical finish, tumbled, drop point blade, all in. Range finding, bottle opener. My son, when he saw this, he's a Star Wars fan. He was like, he never asked me for knives. He saw that and he's like, oh, Jesus, Dad, I want that.
If he's watching, pull out your card.
Jack, if you're watching, get your mom's credit card and you can buy it and I'll give you a 10% discount. Just kidding. Wanted let me know. Hey, the next one, what's that? Yeah, no discount. I'm just kidding. Next knife is our waffle and syrup. Now, I should have called this the Snoop. This is number 17, our waffle and syrup knife. So this has got syrup-colored anodized liners and hardware. These cheeky fucking elves in Santa's factory have been cheeky. It's got a waffle pattern on the outside, high polish, range-finding bottle opener, quarter-turn Zeus wrench, and a Zeus blade and a drop point polish blade. Sexy knife. Now, Snoop does that chicken and waffle. Snoop, if Snoop is out there, he actually inspired me yesterday. We're going to make a knife that looks like a burning joint. I think we're going to call it the spliff. And then we'll call it the blunt. Maybe we'll make one called the blunt. That'd be hilarious. A knife.
He's got a champagne out.
A knife called the blunt.
I'm going to try it over New Year's.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So Snoop, if you're out there and you want to do some knives for chicken and waffles, let me know. Reach out. We'll do a co-brand piece. It'll be a nice thing for you guys. Class up the chicken and waffles with some American-made cutlery. Next is the Deep. Pretty cool knife. This is number 18. It's got a really cool ocean scene from seafloor, from seabed to high in the shallows. Very cool knife. 6 blade. This one is a Magna Cut blade. You'll see the logo on it. Anytime you see a Magna Cut blade from ASK, it will be marked, engraved Magna Cut on the blade right there. It's got a range-finding bottle opener, an awl, and a 6 blade, and it is in high polish. Liners and hardware in ocean blue. Super sexy. Next, Pac-Man. We got a Pac-Man knife. Warncliffe blade. Pac-Man themed scales. Multicolor flamed ano liners and hardware. Super cool knife. Pac-Man. And that's Pac Biatch. Number 19, Pac Biatch. Used to be Amy's favorite game. So Amy and I were at a party years ago over in Scottsdale, up near McDowell Mountain Ranch. Near McDowell Mountain, we were at this party. And it ended up being the party of some record producer. And, they had a big swanky Scottsdale house. And at the time, she and I can't remember if we lived in our first patio home or if we had bought a home yet. I mean, I knew we had a home, but I wasn't sure if we'd gone to our first house or if we were still in patio home. I think we were in our first house. We went to this party. She was dressed cute, and I used to be good shape, decent looking in those days. And we're walking around this joint, and it's got a game room downstairs, a bitchin' game room, like an arcade. So we go in there, and she goes to town on Pac-Man. I'm not really a video game guy, but she was Pac-Maning it up. And there was this girl next to her who was playing another game. And I don't know if she was playing Galaga or what, but she was getting all worked up. Cute little thing, tiny little thing, long hair, huge rack. And I was standing there, and I positioned myself like some of you guys may, like The wife is here, and a hot chick is next to the wife. You go stand on the opposite side, so it looks like you're looking at the wife, and you can check out the hot chick. Probably be married if I hadn't done this kind of stuff. But, I was like, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but I got to see what's going on over there. Tiniest dress you've ever seen. She smelled like cotton candy, bubble gum, and vagina. I remember I was like, oh my God, look at that. What's that? Oh my God. So Amy and I stand, and the girl starts talking to us, and it was fucking Jenna Jameson. And I was like, oh, no wonder. After things got weird, it was in Jenna Jameson version 1, 1.0. Yeah, it was special. I'm not a porn guy at all, but she was big and she was in town. I mean, she was tiny, but she was, big name at the time. And she had done that Club Jenna and made a shit ton of money. I think that was even pre-Tito Ortiz. A friend of mine did her closet. He's the guy, the contractor who does work on my house for me now and then. He did Jenna Jameson's closet. He said it was spectacular. Guy, talented dude. Okay, next we've got a drop point. Rangefinder bottle opener. Quarter turn Zeus fastener. This is Green Arctic Camo. Green Arctic Camo number 20. Just an awesome knife. Guys are always like, what variations? I want this, I want that, I want this. Look, it's totally flexible, and you can swap them around as much as you want, but you don't need to. These are when you see these specialty tools. My idea of the perfect knife, it's the Jefferson. It's the chisel, it's the bottle opener, and the blade. Perfect. I can do 99% of what I'd ever do with a 50-tool multi-tool, except I'll actually have this one in my pocket. I carry it every day, and I love it. Cool knife. That's Green Arctic Camo. Moving on to Corsair. This is another one of our pictorial knives. It's got a full image on the side. It's an F4U Corsair flying over the Pacific. This actually is number 29. I forget who the aircraft paint scheme's attributed to, but it was one of the Jolly Rogers. Stonewashed, plain tie, tumbled liners, polished liners, tumbled parts. Corsair. That's number 21. Number 22, Freedom Resin. Red, white, and blue resin. Looks like the resin when it's being mixed. Those guys do those natural wood tables that have big holes in them, and they put resin in them. You see them on YouTube if you guys ever fall in the maker's black hole. Really cool little knife. It's got a patriotic look. It's pretty artistic. Blue anno liners and hardware. A wicked little blade. These are really unique. These are cool enough, made of great enough material with high demand tolerances and expectations that you only get in the really higher end knife aficionado world. And it's in a form factor that's really palatable across the entire world's kind of use of little simple pocket knives. So what a cool thing to be able to carry a kind of innocuous kind of world. Nobody gets their feathers ruffled carrying this kind of genre of knife. But then it's got real panache. If somebody were to break out a Direware or some really cool knife in your presence and you broke out one of these, they'd go, oh my God, that's a really cool little multi-tool knife. That's not some schmo mass-produced janky shit. Next, we're moving on to Arctic Camo. The Arctic Camo. It's got blue contrast liners and hardware. Arctic Camo scales. It's got a 6 blade rangefinder bottle opener and an all. Super cool knife. Next, an up-close Rosie the Riveter. This reminds me of Carrie Lake. She kind of pulled this off on Halloween. It was really cool. Just a great knife. It really speaks for itself. You guys can't see it, but it has dark blue hardware, dark blue liners. It is the Rosie the Riveter scale set, both sides. All these are the same scales, both sides in reverse to each other, okay? And then high polish tools. Be a great knife for that woman in your life. Maybe she's an awesome homemaker, and every night when you come rolling in from the office because you're a big boy provider. You come rolling in from the office. She's wearing a little cocktail dress. She's worn a push-up bra. Got a really nice little cleavage there. And she got some high heels on. Maybe that pair you got her. Listen, I didn't do this. My marriage only lasted 23 years, and I didn't do this, and I should have done it. I should have bought her the Christian Louboutin she always wanted. I should have done it. She was always so reasonable, and I always went along with it. Amy was always so conscious about spending money. You buy your woman her favorite designer's pair of shoes. $600, $800, $1,200, whatever the fuck they cost, buy her those shoes. This is advice from Uncle Greg. This is priceless. You're welcome. She has a little cocktail dress on. And she's got her heels on. She's got a drink ready for you. Maybe you're an IPA guy. Maybe you're heterosexual and you want some booze. You got a little martini waiting for you when you get home. Dirty 2 olive martini with olive juice poured on top of it. You come walking in the house after a long day of it. She's in her little dress with her shoes on. You smell a little food cooking in the background. Kids are all sorted. Laundry's folded. House is squared away. It's 1955. Picket fences and the world feels right. But right before you get there, she hears a clunk at the doorstep. It's not St. Nick. It's UPS. And UPS or the Amazon driver has dropped off some boxes. And it's, you know what it is? It's those 2 English oversized badger hair shoe brushes you wanted to polish your shoes because you got a grown-up job. And the normal ones are a little too small. She got them for you oversized. She got them on Amazon, and they showed up, and she wants you to have them. But she doesn't want to run across the house in her heels and spill your martini. So what does she do? She takes her fingernail polish, nails done nice. She slides her fingers up her skirt, reaches up into where her panties are, and pulls out a knife that she had stuck right under the edge of the panties. And it's this knife. She pulls it out, snaps open the blade, cuts open the box, right as you pull in the driveway. And she's got your knife that you bought her in her hand, a martini, and the boot brush, those shoe brushes she got for you. And at that moment, you say, I will be married for the rest of my life to this beautiful woman. Again, check out the knife. Make love to your wife. All right, moving on to the next thing. That's a little advice from Uncle Greg. A little marriage counseling. A little, don't do what I do what I say. I'm better at these things now than I used to be, trust me. This is Tiger Stripe Camo. Speaks for itself. A really tactical, cool knife. Plain titanium hardware, liners, stonewashed everything. I don't need to give you a bunch of details on that at this point. So that is Arctic Tiger Stripe Camo number 25. Next is Neon Resin number 26. Great looking scales on this. Got a really cool look. All in high polish hardware, and as turned screws. If you're just joining us or you just popped in, you can go from Med for Knife over to askknife.com. Go over to askknife.com. Go down to the very top of the page. You'll see a Frankenstein graphic there for our 2022 ASK Mashup Holiday Show. Or you can just go to askknife.com/2022 HS. You see all the knives we're talking about as I talk about them in real time, and you can bibbity bop down there and check them out. You know, Jeff and I were chatting yesterday, and we were thinking about what we ask of our young people these days. And, you know, certainly our young people have stood us well in Afghanistan and Iraq, and we've asked for a lot of them, but we've also provided them with more resources and tools to do this kind of shit than any time in human history ever. And we were thinking about this time, and it's why we did this homage, and it's why we do these homages to these World War II aircraft. I don't know. I can't remember if the Doolittle raid was 25 planes or 20 planes. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I want you to imagine these days, we get a twin-engine bomber. We line them up on aircraft carriers. They have been yanking parts instruments, radios, emergency gear, backup systems. They've been yanking them out of these airplanes for 2 weeks. The piles of junk have piled up on the decks of the ships and been thrown over into the ocean as they try to lighten them to make the takeoff. They had not tested one of them at sea. They didn't know it would work. Imagine finding 25 kids who'd volunteer to fly with 25 other kids, 50 kids, I say kids, between the ages of 18 and 25, piling into airplanes that had most of their gear stripped out of them, their safety equipment, because it was too heavy, to bring bombs to bomb the homeland of a foreign nation. Interestingly, there wasn't enough fuel to get back, 100% guaranteed no matter what. So the escape plan, your return plan, is they put a note in your jacket in Chinese and ask you to scuttle your airplane on the beach or in the water short of China. Hopefully get picked up by your fishermen, picked up by the Chinese, and work your way back to Allied forces. Can you imagine that? And 50 kids were like, yep, we'll go do that, boss. Boom, pop a salute. Well, how are you going to land in the ocean? Well, you kind of do it parallel to the waves, but that's the best we could tell you. I've read accounts of guys crashing 2 airplanes into the sea the same day and getting into a Corsair and dropping danger close mission ordnance for Marines in the Pacific. Danger close means right on top of your position, for those of you who don't know. That's why they call them the greatest generation. They did something we can't even fucking conceive of today. So we pay a little homage to them. Mitchell B25. This is our number 27 knife. Just a really cool knife and an homage to a bunch of badasses. A bunch of badass kids, farm boys, who basically saved the free world. Pretty neat. Next, neon resin. I'm sorry, blue marble. Blue marble. We're going to blue marble number 28. Stonewashed, flamed hardware and sides, contrast stonewash springs. Just a good looking knife, you guys. Everything about the knife is cool. It smacks of some sort of subtlety and class that a gentleman might want to carry in his Sunday go to meeting best. Next is our orange camel number 29. Plain everything, high polish everything, magna cut blade, through looking rangefinder, bottle opener. Very cool knife. And it's cool if you set it down. It's got some high vis orange on it to get your attention. Well, it's got some grabber orange, some ASK grabber orange on it to get your attention. Super neat knife. Next is our only single channel knife of the show. We released a batch of these this past year. Did a bunch of these go out, Jeff?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the one.
So this is our Mandalorian, our little homage to the Mandalorian. It's a gray on gray Mandalorian skull on both sides, single blade, drop point, stonewash everything, polished liners. That is a single channel, really thin knife. I can kind of tilt it forward. You can see how narrow it is compared to the double channel knives. And we're getting ready to jump into the triple channels here pretty quick. Matter of fact, next. So next is our skate deck. I forget who this guy is. Powell.
I think it's Geraldo Rivera.
You skateboard guys know this. And I was standing out in the factory when this knife popped out, and we were all looking at how cool it was. And somebody goes, oh, I know that guy. And he says the name, and 3 other dudes knew it. So I was standing in a group of younger guys, and out of 4 or 5 guys, 3 of them knew this dude's name. And I was like, I didn't have any idea who it was. Our young guy Forrest had gone through and kind of done this one. I think he did one for Lindsay, and it turned out really nicely.
Yeah, hers is cool. I think she gets requests for it all the time.
Yeah, and she did some brighter colors. So this has got ano contrast hardware and liners. This is a 3-channel knife. There's a lot going on. There's a little, you'll see a skull kind of poking out, ripping out of the side of it. Really cool knife, and that image is on both sides. That is a 4-tool, 1-blade knife that could be converted into a 6-tool or a 3-blade or a 2-blade, 2-tool. The nice thing about this ASK line is you can mix and match it any way you like. This is why we call it our mashup show. We did a lot of non-standard combos because we got most of the tools available now. The only thing you guys aren't seeing at this right now is our Mono Tanto. Pretty cool knife. Moving on to number 32, Green Arctic Camo. Now, this, unlike the stonewashed one with the glitzy handles, this has got a subdued camo handle with polished everything else. So super cool knife. I think you guys will dig it. Sexy, sexy, sexy. Our last knife. This has comic book. It's got some little spots on it, you guys, but those are just from the foam. It wipes right off. I'm trying to get these cleaned up right now with my hand before I put them in your nose. But this is a 4-tool, 1-blade. Very cool little, just American pocket knife with cartoon clouds. It's clouds kind of look like something you'd see from The Simpsons, maybe. Let me get it over there for you. Pretty cool little knife. We've only got one more ASK offering for you guys today. This is our Neon Sunset. Oh, there's actually two of them. This is our Neon Sunset. You'll see why it's called Neon Sunset. 4-tool, drop point, high polish, gold, contrast hardware and liners. Very cool knife. And just, it's marked on, it's obviously printed on both sides. Very, very cool, unique knife with some cool tools on it. Super usable. And you can open it up, swap it around, change out the blades, do 3 blades, all kinds of crazy fun stuff. Our last knife of the day, our last ASK knife. This is it's our last of the 3-layer, 3-channel knives. This is basically a kind of gee whiz look at me knife, okay? It's got a MagnaCut drop point, it's got a 6, and it's got a Wharncliffe blade on it. It's our red, what are we calling this one? Oh yeah, red Arctic Camo. It's got plain tumbled and polished hardware and parts. It's got a 6 blade, a Wharncliffe, and a drop point, and one of them's MagnaCut. The drop point is MagnaCut. Super cool knife. I can show you this one all closed up. So I'm gonna close it here. I'll do it like this. So you guys can see. Thing's just great walk and talk. Pretty neat knife. Let me turn it 90 degrees so you can see the top. It's got, it's got some width to it compared to a 2-channel knife. It's a little bit thicker. 3 layers of 1/8-inch tools on that knife. Very cool. Okay, so our last 2 knives of the day, we have multiples of these, okay? We did very small runs of each. I think I asked for 20 of each. So there's, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20. Whatever I asked them to make, that's what they made. So we've got the Buccaneers. This is number 8 with 4 kills. These knives have a great look to them, okay, guys? They are, you'll notice this was not sharp. I just went and snagged it off the builder's desk today. I prefer handling these knives all dull. If you're going to hold 50 or 60 knives, I'd rather touch dull knives. Here they're all razor sharp, but this one's dull, and it kind of relaxes me. I'm always worried about slicing my hand open on camera. Really cool knife. So this has got, if you look in close on both sides, mirrored, fully distressed Corsair side fuselage panels. Fuel oil access panels with wear, rivets, marks. Really cool. And then it's got the proper pre-1945 red outline rondelle star and bar. And after 1945, it had that red stripe down through the middle of it. It's got the nose art you see on here actually was on the tail of the F4U Corsair. We put it on the front because it balanced out. It just made a better piece. But it's an homage piece that's pretty accurate otherwise. Very, very fun Buccaneer homage to some fighter pilots from World War II in the Pacific Theater. I think there's 10. If you put 10, that'll be fine. And if we have more, we'll change the number. All right, our very last ASK knife of the night. Merry Christmas to the Jolly Rogers. This is a really famous paint scheme, number 29. It's got the skull and crossbones on it. These guys did pretty amazing things in the Pacific and World War II. I recommend you check it out on Wikipedia or some other non-political informational type site that talks about what went on in World War II with fighter pilots. Pretty neat. We've got 10 of these as well. These are in full polish, obviously. This is a traditional Jefferson configuration. S35 parts, polish, everything else. Just a lovely knife. We're going to run through 4 Damascus knives quite quickly, and then we're going to talk about the Ninja Spikes for a minute, and that'll be our wrap on the evening, okay? Remember, if you guys, if you kind of, like my role, you can go to iTunes, Spotify, and Rumble. You can see my show there. It's called The Greg Medford Show. We've been doing it now for a couple of years, and it's after I got kind of shut down everywhere after our Instagram site. How did our commercial Instagram site get stolen from us by Turks, and Instagram can't help us get it back? Fuck Instagram. Fucking scumbags. Who the fucking scumbags?
Simply said.
All right. These fucking Turkish guys stole this goddamn thing, and the only thing I can expect, the only thing that we can guess, is they're running it like a cigarette operation in New York City in 1967. Some fucking guy up at Instagram doesn't like us because we're conservative or in a controversial product, which they call a weapon category. And out the back door of Instagram, they're selling their shit to their brother-in-law in fucking Turkey. And these guys are able to go in and change our history on what our contact emails are. Then they steal the site and you can't get it back. They ransom it, and we paid them some money, and we still didn't get it back. Their time will come, motherfuckers. All right. Let's jump into these gentleman jacks. So our first knife, gentleman jack, it is a shall not be infringed piece. These are all Nichols Damascus. They're all raindrop pattern Nichols Damascus. They're very sexy, hollow ground, lovely, lovely knives. These are absolutely as upper class, cool gentlemen as it gets. On the backside, on the spine, it says made in the United States of America in constitutional script. On the front side, this one says shall not be infringed with a number 2. This would be offensive to almost nobody except the dirty, rotten, gun-grabbing commie. And everybody else will have no idea what that means. And it's your own little classy way. It's your own little classy protest. It's your own little miniature talisman that speaks to you. That's our Second Amendment.
It's a great grandfather or a work colleague.
Yep. Yeah, if you've got a work colleague who has done something big for you, all of us who've been successful have had somebody that guided us either to the finish line or guided us up a whole notch or 2 in our lives. And a thing like this that is so unique, so beautiful, so handmade, so bespoke, and so one-off, it speaks to how much you appreciate. These are rare things, and the cost of something that's $1,000, say, when somebody changes the trajectory of your life. What's the value of that? What's the value of that? That teacher back in high school, I had World War II veterans. I had some Korean War veterans when I was in high school. What was the value of Jake Mahegan? What was the value of Herr Devino, who had, during the Cold War, spoke German and was operating in East Berlin for the State Department and was teaching German in my high school? What was the value of those men? They changed my trajectory, that's for sure. If they were alive, I'd love to send them one of these as a thanks. Pretty cool knife. Another Raindrop Damascus. This has got, what do we call this thing? Viral?
Acid edge.
It's got a acid etch, and these are they're in full polish. So these are slick, yummy feeling little pocket knives. These are not. They're quite mature. My company is always kind of specialized in tactical tough, and these are very refined and elegant, and definitely knives. If you knew somebody who was a billionaire that carried a knife, this would be the knife a billionaire might carry. Super high end, super lovely feeling. Will never snag on their clothing or snag a dress pant on the way in or something. They're just lovely.
And they give it to their kids and grandkids.
Yep. Around for a long time. What do you give somebody who's really well heeled? Knives are super thoughtful, and they speak to an ancient dialogue. What do you give somebody who's got exotic cars and big houses and all that? You can't give them anything. They have everything they want, and you could spend as deep as you want, and they could get nicer or whatever you get them. We all know people like this. But something like this, so thoughtful and so masculine and so personal and of such quality, it's the kind of thing, it's a gift you can give a billionaire. Pretty cool. I love that we make gifts you could give a billionaire. So this is just a very, very simple, what do we call this one, Jeff? This is, it looks iridescent because it's not been muted. So it's got a polished titanium that's been anoded on top. Very subtle, very sexy. If you're going to buy a knife for Prince, of the knives I've shown you today, that would be the knife you'd get for Prince. And the pimp. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that coat.
Purple Rain and that'd be perfect.
Doves Cry.
Doves Cry. Little red 69 Corvette. This is a really cool and the most, I'm going to say masculine. I would call this a tuxedo or kind of penguin setup. This is a black Armalube finished knife. Contrast brushed bolsters. And then blackout Damascus Nichols raindrop pattern. Pretty cool knife. All right.
That's in your tuxedo pocket at the holiday party.
Yeah. That's the one you should be wearing, or Boxing Day party, day after Christmas. You go to a Boxing Day party with some of your English friends. The last thing we'll be offering tonight is our Ninja Spikes. Now, the only thing that's different about these than what you're going to see, they're brushed. They've been bead blasted, hand sculpted, polished. There's a lot going on with these. So that has been sculpted on both sides. Big chamfers. It's got a leather zip on it. Polished main bevel, razor sharp edge. I think it's razor sharp. Oh, I'll talk to the boys. Oh, I see what's going on. It's got a little polish goo on it. Oh, man. You could fuck somebody up with this so bad. Guys, I love this thing. I don't know what camera I'm on. Are we on number 1 right now, Austin? Cool. Guys, this is a really cool, like hand-sized little spiky tool. Probably not illegal almost anywhere. It's got kind of look and style of a box opener to it, but one you could kind of cram through a guy's neck and stick out his back. It's got a big polished main bevel on it, razor sharp, got this lovely texture. And then I put holes fore and aft on it so that you could do a wrap or a braid on it. I think it's the kind of thing it's got a little flare here, so you could do a little Kydex sheath if you wanted. We're just going to send them out as these Ninja Spikes. I was playing earlier with the extra one we have. They do throw really nicely. You could sewing machine the shit out of somebody. And if any of you think you might end up in the can in the next year or so, you might pick this up. Let's say Sam Brinkman-Fried. Let's say you're already arrested. Fuck you. Let's say somebody else who's pulling shenanigans in the cryptocurrency market. One of you little guys with way too much estrogen, and one of you guys with man boobies. If one of you little thieves running in the cryptocurrency market know you might get bagged like Sam Bankman-Fried, you could pick up one of these. It's not cheap. It's not free. I would maybe roll a condom over it, not up, shove it right up your ass, and you'll be the king of cell block A with this thing. It is fantastic. Now, you could also put it in your Ford Raptor, and the next time somebody comes over to give you any grief and they put their hands on your vehicle, you put the window down. If they come in with their hands, give them a little sewing machine on the hand, send them off to the emergency room. What the hell? Really cool Ninja Spike. And that's what happens, sports fans, when you grew up watching Kung Fu theater and you own a knife company. I think we made 10 of those. Now, the only difference I was going to tell you is on the polish right here. I used to teach Japanese a long time ago, so I've got my name. And I used to teach a bunch of Japanese students martial arts, a style called Iaido. And I put my my sword signature down the side of the polish right here. And then I was thinking of I'm going to probably laser a little ninja throwing a shuriken kind of down the center of it. I think it'll be really cool. It'll look really neat and kind of speak to that campy Kung Fu theater thing that inspired it in my head. And then you guys carry it and enjoy it. It's CPM 3V, so you could throw it, stab shit till the cows come home, and it'll be awesome.
Customization will still be Christmas.
Yeah, we're gonna on Monday and Tuesday. I should have those wrapped up, and they'll leave and head out for Christmas. Okay, so guys, these are all things you can get and have in time for Christmas. On behalf of, I want to thank Jeff and Lindsay for all the work they put into this. Forrest for the artwork, Jason Langston for some of the help, Austin for coming in on Friday, which is our day off here. I want to thank you all for helping put this together. And on behalf of our entire company, Merry Christmas to you all. Thank you for being a part of our lives. It has been the great honor of my life making cool knives for everybody. I've gotten to do all sorts of fun things in my life. And I think if I was laying on my deathbed next week, I would think more about all these really cool and fun and unique interactions I've had with knife people and veterans and folks who carry our stuff and the little adventures that our tools go on around the world, which is great fun for us to kind of be a part of. As you reach middle age and you kind of settle in and you don't like going places as much and your life maybe is not as dashing and exciting as you thought it might be when you were younger, to reach that point of life where you're okay, like, I don't know, I don't need to go there. I don't need to see that. I don't need to see that temple. I don't need to go to that beach. You get to that point to be a part of doing something that gets around the world, has a fun story, and connects with people. It's pretty amazing. And I think we all feel pretty blessed. We're blessed to have the friendship of each other doing this merry band of knife making, selling lunatics. And very, very honored to have all of you guys who've supported us. Even some of you queer bait lefties with your fucking skinny jeans and your stupid hair and your soy boy enlarged nipples and shrunk testicles from the weird fucking shit you eat. Even you guys, thanks for coming around and throwing some hate our way, sneaking a knife. I see every now and then I see some real hipsters carrying my knives and they look at me and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to hate him, but he's kind of funny. He reminds me of my crazy Uncle Frank that was in the Marines. The world needs lunatics like me. It really does. We're the first to call bullshit. If I tell you this right now, if 1939 Germany had more of me, there wouldn't have been a Holocaust. All it takes is for people willing to say no. I don't know. It was attributed to Edmund Burke, but I think this thing's been around a while. The only thing necessary for evil to take place is for good men to do nothing. And there are lots of good men out there who do nothing. They're good men doing nothing. And I am not one of them. I get up and yell and I get disagreeable and I poke and I push and I prod. And I thank you all for being part of it. I thank you all for the dialogue, the talking, the talk show, the podcast, the YouTube. It's a way that I excise the demons of the madness of this world that if you're even semi-aware, you start to see. And I thank you guys for kind of processing it with me. Sometimes I get a little out of line and the bandoleros, those guys with eyeliner and stupid hair who haven't gotten laid that are in their mom's basement on Reddit, those guys reach out and like to smack me around and talk some smack. But it's funny. They never come say anything to my face. I know Blade Show last year pissed everybody off with my critique on China and what they were doing. And all I can say is I handed out hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those shirts And of that entire line at Blade Show, there was one person who said no thanks. And he said no thanks before I even took the shirt out. And I caveated the shirt to everybody. Hey, it's a little edgy. If you don't want it, I understand. Everybody took the shirt. Everybody. But one guy. And I gave out hundreds of them. The truth is, speak up and defend those of us who are free thinkers and free speakers, because you may be next. We should be a merry band of brothers who speak the truth to our country. Oh my God. Listen, we could print that shirt and make a killing. We'd have made $100,000 on that shirt. We don't ever print up the show shirts. We let them be collectibles so that you could show that you were at the Nirvana concert in 1987. You can wear your 1987 shirt. What's that? Oh yeah, wait till you see this shirt. This year's shirt is awesome. Hopefully I don't get killed by anybody. All right, you guys, on behalf of everybody here at Medford Knife and Tool and ASK Knives, our new company, which is doing really well, we want to thank you for being here. We appreciate you participating. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, Fuckroidius, and everything else in between. Have a great new year. I will see you soon. I'm out.